we've got another world champion lurking somewhere here in the Crucible. John Parrott, are you polishing up your skills ahead of the World Seniors next week or something?
Well, I don't know about that, Hazel, but I am in the practice room, and I'm here to help you. Any questions or queries about your game, you can reach us to #BBC Snooker. And if you don't want to hear a very loud creak and moths flying all over the place, go now, because I'm about to open my snooker case.
All right, and so to our main event of the afternoon. Rob Walker is just geeing the crowd up here in the Crucible Theatre because we've got a barnstorming second session in our second semi-final between John Higgins and Ronnie O'Sullivan. This is the longest-standing head-to-head contest in professional snooker. It's the 70th time these guys have squared up and the 6th here at the Crucible. And amidst almost claustrophobic tension, it all got underway last night.
The Crucible Theatre at its absolute best.
What a match we're in for here between these two legends.
Ooh, it seemed to drift away, that.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 14.
Good start for John Higgins, 1-0. He's got it. So does Blue to go 23 points in front with only 13 remaining. Excellent break. And needs to run. Ooh, you can hear the cue thumping on the Crucible floor. First 3 frames. Go to John Higgins. He'll be pleased with that. And this pink will put him 63 points in front with just 59 remaining.
Fabulous shot. Just refusing to sit down at the moment, O'Sullivan.
Vintage Ronnie O'Sullivan, all square, 3 apiece.
He struck that well, didn't he?
Tremendous. Well, this crowd have turned out tonight expecting to see 2 of the greatest players that have ever graced the Green Bays, and they've put on a show. 4 apiece, end of the first session.
What a night it was. It was absolutely extraordinary. And this is how the frame-by-frame actually worked out. Very cagey start, heavy tension and the utmost respect from O'Sullivan for his opponent. And it seemed initially to inhibit Ronnie. And Higgins jumped on the early errors he made to take a 3-0 lead, but O'Sullivan upped the pace. The energy levels began to find his fluency and his form, winning the next 3 with a century en route to level it. Higgins stole the 7th before O'Sullivan notched his 9th ton of the championship to get back on terms. And it is beautifully poised today at 4-all. And I wonder, Steve, who, given the tension last night, will feel happier about the 4-all scoreline right now, do you think?
Well, I think if you'd have asked them at the start of the session, they'd have all gone, OK, 4-all, we'll both settle for that. But obviously from 3-0 in front, John Higgins will have had a chance to extend the lead even more so. So you would expect Ronnie to feel the more relieved, but he doesn't really think like that half the time. You could see it's a professional job well done to get back in that session.
I think what was fascinating, Stephen, we were in here last night with Ken, and we were amazed at how Ronnie almost consciously decided to change and up the gears. It was quite visible, wasn't it?
Yeah, but his average shot time in the first 3 frames was 29 seconds, which is just unheard of for Ronnie O'Sullivan. He was kind of, to me, he looked like he was overthinking things, trying to play the perfect safety every time. He was up, down in the shot quite a lot. And then he decided at 3-0 down just to impose himself on the game. He decided that I've had enough of this. I'm going to play the game on my terms. I'm going to be aggressive. And that's what he did. He turned it around. And John, couldn't compete with that scoring. It'll be interesting to see if he can win frames in one visit today. He was sort of picking up the pieces in a lot of frames.
He was, and in fact, Steve, his top break was 58 last night. So really still to get into that groove of it.
Yeah, and the unforced errors are probably going to be the answer to who wins this match, who makes the least of them. And it does feel that maybe John's making the occasional one of those that Ronnie may not be, but it's just on the day. you know, these two, they're so good. You know, it could be the half a ball roll that could dictate that particular session. A 5-3, even a 6-2, just on the strength of the ball rolling behind a ball colour. It's so tight.
It is, and it has been for years between these two guys. That ends the fascination. Well, just next door, we've got Dennis and Ken who are going to be guiding us through things in the commentary box today. Good afternoon, fellas. Dennis, can you tell us your impression of this? Ken was with us in the studio last night, but you were watching this as a neutral, and I wonder how you felt that opening session developed and how you think it's going to shape up this afternoon for us.
Well, you mentioned it, Hazel. John's highest break, 58, and Ronnie had 2 centuries in the last 3 frames. So, listen, all the commentators, nobody can pick a winner of this. I mean, I picked Ronnie at the start of the tournament. He was 6-1, believe it or not. But to pick a winner the way both of them are playing, and stamina is going to play a big part now. But John Higgins has got himself into really good shape, lost 3 stone. We know how fit Ronnie is, and that's going to play its part as well, I think, Ken.
Ken, you and I were discussing with Stephen in here last night the fact that there was just a little bit of frustration beginning to boil up in Ronnie. We saw him pound the cue on the floor. We saw the knuckles being rapped on the table. What did all of this say to you?
It said to me that, you know, when Ronnie sort of deflects the pressure and attention on him, that he's, you know, he's really enjoying this championship. It doesn't matter whether he wins or loses. You could tell out there he wants to win. He wants to get that 7 world title under his belt. And that's a good sign. I love to see that because it means he cares and he really wants to play well and, you know, to win that 7 world championship. He's broke every other record in the book. He wants to equal that man sitting beside you there, Hazel, to equal his record. He doesn't want it in the studio for sure, but Ronnie certainly does. And that's good. And I hope that after that session yesterday, 4-all, it was a little bit slow. It came out a bit better after the blocks, after the interval. And I think the both players will have settled down. I think we're going to see a really good session of snooker from here on in. OK, gentlemen, settle into your seats. Thank you very much. So there's John and Ronnie just disappearing down the corridor. These guys have been squaring up to one another since 1996 at the Crucible for over a quarter of a century. First time they've played one another, they were 20 years old and still on the up in the sport. Now they're both 46 and remarkably right at the top of it. So these are moments and these are matches we should remember and treasure. And here they go again with MC Rob Walker.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to day 14 at the Betfred World Snooker Championship and the resumption of a match that couldn't be closer between 2 men who have won absolutely everything in their 30-year glittering careers. Welcome back to the Clash of '92. Please welcome one of the finest sportsmen his country has ever produced, making his 11th Crucible semi-final, 4 times a champion of the world, the pride of Scotland, the Wizard of Wishaw, John Higgins. And now to the greatest player in history, returning for this record-breaking 13th Crucible semi-final. 6 times a champion of the world, blink and you'll miss him, the Rocket, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
So here we go, 8 more frames to play this afternoon. Let's sit back and soak it all in with Ken and Dennis. Hello again.
Thank you, Hazel. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Crucible Theatre for this second session, which is going to be absolutely fascinating. Chatting to people outside the Crucible. They're from all over the world here, Ken. They're every part of the world have come to the Crucible Theatre.
Absolutely, and what a wonderful standing ovation. Both players got atmosphere, electric.
Thank you for the round now, please. The 9th frame.
Can't wait for this.
Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
It's Ronnie then that gets the first frame underway. And a pretty good break-off shot.
It's not straightforward for John Higgins here. Maybe attempting the 2-cushion escape, trying to hit that second red left of the black. Yeah, good shot. He's okay. Yeah, very, very good.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to see lots of frame-winning breaks, but you're watching two of the best tactical players the game's ever seen. What a competitor John Higgins is. And to finish off his match against Jack Lisowski was amazing, the last 2 frames.
Best safety shot from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Cue ball in and out of balk, but hasn't left anything easy. Black is a little bit tied up, so not quite sure what he's going to take this red on. Don't think so. Nothing there to take on after it, so just a safety shot. Almost got the black out into play. He may have left this red, but once again, not straightforward.
Yeah, I don't think there's any value in the red unless somehow he can manage to get off a couple of cushions and up towards the blue. But well, just have a look at that shot. You've got the perfect picture there to see what happens to the cue ball if he pots the red. That's all he could do, was just power it and hope somehow. He nearly followed it in, didn't he? But it was very difficult to get good position.
Tell you what, Dennis, I think he's done quite well getting the cue ball there. He can pot the blue, try and send that cue ball in between yellow and brown, and maybe down for a red just above the black. Or red into the right centre pocket. Let's see what you can do here with the cue ball. Yeah, it's coming down. So there is a red above the black. There is the red into the right centre, but he's very close to the left-hand side cushion. Very hard to manoeuvre the cue ball. The second red above the black may be open as well into the same bottom right corner pocket.
When you raise the butt of the cue and you strike down like that, you've got to be so accurate, and look what he's done with that. He's now given himself a decent chance. Okay, the black's still tied up, but if he can get on the red above the black in such a way, I know there's other loose reds, but if he could get on that, he could cannon the one away from the black. But he'd have to be so precise.
Yeah, that was a wonderful pot, that last one, just to get the cue ball back up. Nice angle on the yellow. Yeah, I think that red that you're talking about, he may play for that in a couple of shots' time. There's a couple of loose reds left and right of the pink. But yeah, I think to win the frame in this visit, he's going to need that black into play. And he's such a master of getting, of course, break building, but also developing the colours, reds, colours, and particularly that black area and the black ball.
Meanwhile, he's come up short on the blue.
16.
Oh, he had a lot of right-hand side on that, and now he's got the chance to get on that red that I mentioned. But if he can get the white anywhere near the circle, he's got other reds, but that's what he'd be thinking about. And now he's on that red, and he can just
21.
flick the other red away that's next to the black. I think he can do that.
Yeah, as long as they're not touching it, he doesn't knock the black towards the cushion, but I think he's okay. Yeah, straight away. Excellent. And now a wonderful opportunity. It's amazing how quick his snooker brain works.
29.
I mean, from the opening red, you didn't think anything was possible, and all of a sudden, a few shots later, he's perfecting around the black. Still got a bit of work to do.
30.
Just wondering if those two reds a possible plant into this bottom right corner pocket.
And he can cannon the end red away if they're not. Oh, he hadn't got the angle from there, but he's, oh, I think he's just okay. Had to slip
37.
past that, but he's left it for the middle.
38.
It's remarkable how these great players seem to start and finish a session so well. I mean, he finished the session with 107, and here he is at the start of this session. Now this is a bit tricky up into the corner.
45.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to criticise Ronnie, that previous red to the middle wasn't a great shot. He needed a nice angle on the black, so he's going to have to pull out a good one here. Red up into the top left-hand corner pocket, the yellow pocket, but that, if he gets it, will release the one just to the right of it. Big shot, this. Oh, it was close.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 45.
Yeah, break the 45. But I think he'd be a little bit disappointed there, Dennis. Should have had a nicer angle on the previous black.
One.
What a cracking opening red from John Higgins. And as Ken mentioned, that red at the back of the little bunch is available, and it in turn will release another one, so he doesn't have to go crashing into them. He's got an angle to pot the brown and cannon into the reds, but he's just debating whether to do that. He's going into them. How's your luck, John? The red's going in. Can you believe it?
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Well, he couldn't have hit that any better, and he didn't see the possible plant. Let's have a look. Now, that to hit the pink and then hit the reds and knock that in, that's so unfortunate, and probably has cost him the opening frame in this session.
One.
You're always trusting a little bit of luck, you know, when you split the reds, but you're not expecting that. That was very unfortunate for John Higgins. And you see the way the reds split, it would have been a wonderful opportunity
8.
for a counter-attack in this frame, but it looks like it's going to give Ronnie O'Sullivan
9.
the opening frame. Maybe for the first time in this match, best of 33, of course, versus 17. Ronnie O'Sullivan is looking like going into the lead. Just this black to go 64 ahead with 59 remaining.
$16. 17.
Well, over a long match like this, the luck usually evens itself out, but that was very unfortunate there.
Yeah, they're just things in any sport that you just can't legislate for. It's just part and parcel of the game.
24.
John is very strong mentally. He won't let it affect him.
25.
Just have to accept it and move on. But a good start from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Look, very sharp. Okay, missed one red up into the yellow pocket, but
32.
apart from that, and of course playing at a much quicker pace than it's that, you know, 28, 29 average shot time in the first few frames last night was quite worrying, but now you see it's well down.
$38. $39. $46. 48.
Throughout this year's Betfred World Championship, Ronnie has been so relaxed. He's been very comfortable and
51.
very focused. Maybe got a little annoyed with himself last night during one of the frames, but that's not a bad thing.
60. 66.
Well, one bit of misfortune for John Higgins, but Ronnie O'Sullivan looks in devastating form. He clears the lot up there, and now he gets himself into the lead at 5 frames to 4.
He does, and it's worth reminding you about this sort of titanic battle that these guys have faced against one another over the years. What is it, 36 wins to Ronnie, 33 for John Higgins. But interestingly, it's John who's won all 3 of their matches this season and 6 of the last 7, but it is fully 11 years since they last squared up at the Crucible. All stats, all interesting, but I wonder how these 2 great experts read that opening frame of the day. What do you think?
Well, it's similar to the opening frame yesterday between Mark Williams and Judd Trump. Mark Williams went into the bunch of reds, potted a red from it. Didn't have a good look, which John didn't either. You could say it's unlucky. Judd went on to take the points that Mark Williams would have, and it dictated the session. It'll be interesting to see if this frame there, because John would have won the frame if he didn't pot rid of that split. Interesting to see if that dictates this session. And
it's all about coming back from a little bit of misfortune that you'll feel sitting in your chair at that point, I would imagine.
Yeah, and as Ken said, well, you know, it's something you just have to deal with as a snooker player. It doesn't really affect you too badly. Maybe towards the end of the match that might have been a bit of a killer blow, but it's early days yet. What was impressive, not that John Higgins isn't out of the blocks pretty quickly as well as a player, but Ronnie looks very relaxed very quickly in this session. I think he's one of the most amazing players to be able to play his natural game in the heat of the Crucible.
Yeah, he looks considerably more settled than he did at this point at the start of the match, Stephen, yeah?
Yeah, and that first frame, the way it was won, momentum is going to play a huge part in this match.
We're whispering already, guys, in here. Back we go.
Yes, we won't whisper in here, Hazel. You have to be quiet in that studio. It's a great view from in there as well, guys, but we have a beautiful view ourselves.
I love the name, though, Whispering Hazel. Ted Lowe, who was the voice of snooker for a lifetime and was here at the World Championship for many years and was involved in Pop Black, had the most wonderful voice. might just be tempted here, John Higgins, but this red's absolutely dead straight by the looks of things. And he's just wondering if he did have a go at it and didn't knock it in, he could leave a red for the left middle. So it's a slight angle, which helps. What a confidence booster this would be, but it's so difficult. Wonderful bit of cueing. Superb cueing there, just come up a little bit short. Well, that was the best he could do. In fact, he could have done with hitting it a little harder.
8.
That red that's closest to the blue is now a tricky pot into the middle, or an even trickier pot into the corner. The corner you'd think would be the choice. You wouldn't be leaving a great deal. But it's the middle. Is it there? He's in.
John Higgins 8.
Well,
Ronnie O'Sullivan 4.
You can't really say that that's unlucky. It's a good pot, but the in-off was possibly always there, and maybe he was trying to pinch a little bit. But it went straight in, more or less. Well, in off the left jaw, but there's always that possibility.
Yeah. That wasn't luck at all. It was just a bad misjudgment. I was a little bit surprised of the previous black that he played. John Higgins could have played it a little bit more aggressively at an angle to go into the pack. Chose not to. Yeah, he's having a look at a possible 3-ball plant here. It looked on a line from this position now. Are they in a line to the corner pocket? It's not far off. If anybody could pick out a plant, it's certainly John Higgins. He's got to keep the cue ball short of the balk line. Yeah, perfect. There's the cue ball. It needs to be short of the balk line, and it is. Good shot.
Now, this is a similar choice he's got. He can take the yellow and go crashing into the reds and pink, but there is a couple of reds available.
Yellow.
Let's see what happens this time if he goes into them. He was unlucky in the last frame. Same shot again. He might be okay, but it's just knocked the black into a safer spot.
3.
All depends on the angle as to whether he can roll this in and get on the black. Well, he can do. He's got to be careful he doesn't push it.
Yeah, that red just below the red that he's playing. It looks like he may be hitting that full ball, which would take a lot of the pace out of the cue ball, and that's why he's contemplating not even taking this red on. There is another red, the loose red, left of the pack. That's cuttable, but again, very difficult. No.
John Higgins 3.
He's left this long red for Ronnie, but again, it's not straightforward. He's got to avoid red on the top cushion, black, and even that red over towards the right cushion. Yeah, he's played it very nicely.
1.
Beautiful control.
That's 5 long pots out of 7 that Ronnie has pulled off. Still that red at the back and to the left. In fact, to the right as well. There's 2 reds that are still available.
Just stop moving, please, when the player's in your eye line.
And there's just a little bit of movement in his eye line there. So, quite rightly gets up off the shot, settles himself down again. Is this too hard? Needs to pull up.
Free.
But I'll tell you what, when he pots this, he's going to move everything in that bunch there. Not guaranteed where the white's going to finish. Key shot. And that is fine. You can jump over the pack like that. It used to be a foul shot, but it's no longer, because you played the ball and then you've jumped over the reds. So this is quite legal to do that, but you can't do it direct.
Yeah, that was a shot that he played. Now he's going to have to play a similar yellow to the previous one. Needs a bit of luck here when he's got it. The red is available into the right middle.
6.
And is there a plant? These 2 reds below the pink, are they in line to this bottom right corner pocket? Let's have a look at them. They may be. He's back looking at the red into the right centre. I wonder, can he drop on the black here? Cue ball will be going in that direction. He could have, but he chose to play back up for balk. He needs to slow up this cue ball, and it has done. Perfect angle on this brown. Just thought he did have a little look at those 2 reds just below the pink. There is a red, of course. The loose red to the right of the pink is available.
11. 12.
He would have preferred to keep that pink in the middle of the table. He's gone slightly safe, so he's at the moment he's just got the blue, but he's okay. Drop this in, a couple of reds still available. I'm sure he'd love to get the black on its spot as quickly as possible. Can't do
17.
that just now.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 17.
Well, it's gone safe, but you'd be disappointed there because it was a good opportunity. Just cued slightly across it. Very unlike John Higgins there. And that plant, is it on? If it is, it could be costly cannoning into the blue there, because it's right over the pocket, and as we pull out, yeah, you can make that.
One.
Didn't want the kiss on the brown. It would have been much easier to pot the blue and get back up to the reds. Now that he cannoned the brown, it's he might still be able to power this in. No, it just finished an awkward angle when he cannoned the brown.
6. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 6.
What a shot he's picked out there. He did have a look at that red to see was it puttable. That certainly was not fortunate that was played. But unfortunately for John, he didn't hit the cue ball hard enough. Just
yellow ball.
Got to get this this cue ball tight to the ball cushion, hide behind green and brown.
John Higgins, 1.
Just a little insect or something near the brown spot. Marcel Eckardt has removed that. Just checking to see where the cue ball is there. And the red's on its way back up.
I don't think the red is puttable into the right centre pocket. John hasn't even looked, but he may be able to play the red off the yellow into the middle pocket. Doesn't look like he's playing that shot. Concentrating, trying to get that cue ball behind the green. There you see Ronnie's view, so I'm going to be careful here. He came down to see was any those two reds puttable into the left corner. Obviously not, but there is a possibility
Please make
of a
sure the
red
devices are all switched off or at least on silent.
into the left centre pocket.
There's no real value in taking the pot onto the left middle pocket. He can't get on a colour, so he's just picked an area where he wants to put the cue ball up towards that left corner pocket. Always nice to see the big breaks and frames won with one visit, but an awful lot of people enjoy this element of the game as well, where you're watching a tactical battle to see who's going to make the mistake. It's like a game of chess.
It's a battle of the mind and wits as well as their talent. When you can, the atmosphere is electric here in the Crucible. The tension is palpable. There you see it. What a beautiful place to play snooker, and particularly Dennis with the one table setup is.
Yes, it's every player's ambition to get to the one table setup. You got to get through to the semi-finals. There's a lot of great players who's never made that. That's the safety area over where the yellow, green and brown are. Nothing to play behind down the other side because the yellow's off its spot. Oh, that's the first mistake in this safety battle, and it's brought the black into play. But still needs a good pot to get started.
One.
Wow. As we show you this terrific pot, John Higgins has won the safety battle. And now can he take full advantage? It's not a straightforward run to the line because of the two reds near the cushion. He'll already be planning his strategy, even debating whether to play for the black and cannon them out straight away rather than wait. Find out where he leaves the cue ball, what his plan is. And he's going to wait for another chance to cannon those two out.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to play for that red above the pink spot. And maybe play for the pink. But that wasn't his best positional shot. He could have played that with a bit more care and attention. He's pretty straight on this black. But he'd be pleased that he did win the safety battle against Ronnie O'Sullivan and carve out this opportunity for him, but it's about taking it now. He's going to send a message out to his opponent.
$16. $17.
Well, now he's got the angle on the black to break at least one of the two reds out. He'd love to develop both of them. He's looking to see if he can pot the left of the two reds, but it's a perfect angle on the black to, well, he can do whatever he wants with this. And it hasn't worked out. That was the problem. It was getting the correct
24.
contact to develop both the reds.
John Higgins, 24.
Yeah, just 24 from that opportunity. He left a possible pot. He wanted to line these reds up, but didn't want to leave a possible pot for Ronnie O'Sullivan, and he has done. And Ronnie's left it, but he has knocked the other red into a safe position on the left-hand side cushion.
One.
And if he drops on this red that's the left of the black, it's going to be a tricky pot. This is the key shot here. The other red's safe, but this is a tricky pot along the cushion.
Six.
Well, just the pace took that red into the pocket. And this crowd did a few excited spectators. Now where's the cue ball going to finish? Surely not in the pocket.
Foul.
Can you believe it?
John Higgins 6, Ronnie O'Sullivan 7.
Now that is unlucky. Very, very unlucky. So that cue ball was heading down towards the red, and he would have had at least a shot at it.
Ronnie will try and find the most difficult of spots for John Higgins here. He can send, there's a couple of ways of playing it. He can send the red across the table twice in behind the black and take the cue ball up towards the balk colours. The way he's queuing up, he's not playing that shot by the looks of things. No, he is, yeah. Well, that's a bit of a flick on the pink. So at the moment, the run of the ball is not evening itself out. It's all going slightly against John Higgins at the moment, but it can change. And maybe he could do with a little run of the ball here to hit the cushion first and send the red up the table and maybe get a snooker behind the black, but he'd have to be so precise to pull this off. What a shot this would be. His first intention is to hit the red. Oh, nearly. Now this is a tester. This could be a frame winner.
He missed the last long pot. He sized himself up for taking this on. He doesn't have to do much with the cue ball. He can leave the cue ball somewhere where the red is for blue into the right centre pocket. But this is could be a frame winner if this goes in. Well, sort of hedged his bets. Very unlike Ronnie O'Sullivan. Screw back for black. So obviously wasn't very, very confident. John Higgins can push the red off the ball cushion to the left-hand side cushion. Try and get that cue ball behind the pink. But use green, brown and yellow as blocking balls as well. That's exactly what he's done. Cue ball needs to, oh, nearly. But has he got the snooker behind green and brown? Is there a gap? Looks like it. May even double this into the middle.
An anxious look from Ronnie to see if he's left a gap, but there's no gap this time. And what he could do here, and you've got the perfect picture, he can play a swerve shot just to glance off this red. And what a shot you've got here of the little swerve taking effect. Yeah, well played. Well, that's a bonus. He wasn't expecting to get the snooker behind the blue, so let's see if Ronnie can hit this and get it safe. He's hit it, but has he got it safe?
Well, this is on for John Higgins. Getting the little extension at the bottom of the cue, which does change the dynamics of the cue, so he's got to judge that as well. Doesn't want to overhit the cue ball. He's got to leave the cue ball low enough on the black when potting this red.
One.
And he has done. And he said it perfectly. It's not straightforward to get on this yellow, is it, Dennis? Because that brown could be in the way. He's got to play a very precise shot here.
Yeah, precise. If he could get it anywhere near the circle, he'd be perfect. But look at the distance he's got to travel to try and get there. But anywhere around that area. It's coming off 2 cushions and needs to pick up a little bit of pace.
8.
It's a pretty good effort, but I don't think he can hold for the green. Another few inches and he would have been spot on there.
16 points ahead. Yellow and green would be only 21 with 22 remaining, so he's going to need yellow, green and brown. He could play to try and pot the yellow, bring the cue ball down this end of the table, back up for green at the same pocket, but he could also play a little, when potting the yellow, run the cue ball into the green, try and knock it towards the right centre pocket. He's played the cannon. Has it worked out? Has it worked out? It has, you know. What a beautiful little shot that was. Very well judged.
Oh, he's played this well. That's a beautiful positional shot.
He's done well here, John Higgins. It's almost like it feels like he's hanging on to Ronnie's coattails at the moment, but sticking with him. And that's all you have to do, and particularly against the 2 unfortunate shots that didn't go his way. So hard to shake off this man.
Ronnie
O'Sullivan will say enough, and a lovely last red up to the pink, and Higgins levels once again. It's Ronnie O'Sullivan 5, John Higgins 5.
So before we get back to this fascinating semi-final, one of the eagle-eyed observers will know that John Higgins has changed his cue action slightly over the last couple of seasons, and mostly it's to do with his bridge hand. We've got a little bit of footage for you here in the last frame. Watch him playing this. There's not a lot of bridge hand over the edge there as he comes back and plays the black. And he certainly used to be longer than that. Certainly had a... Sometimes people used to say John used to occasionally decelerate on the ball, but he's won plenty of things playing like that. So what he's basically done, his length of his bridge hand used to be about there, so there was plenty of it. And what he's done is he's taken the bridge hand closer into the ball, left his backhand more or less in the same place. And what this does is it becomes very compact and very accurate, and it allows you to get through the ball a lot better, and you can get so much work on the cue ball and screw backing off and lose 5 points. But that's the way to do it.
Oh, nicely done, John. And actually, I think John was suffering from a little bit of that himself out there, because there were a couple of moments, I'm sure, that he was cursing his luck out there, Stephen. And this is just run of the balls. But how do you respond when you feel that things are starting to go against you in these circumstances?
You've just got to try and forget it, basically. I mean, he's had 3 or 4 horrible bits of misfortune in these first 2 frames, but he's managed to win the second frame, which is the most important thing. And John, I mean, this is one of them. He's playing round in and out of ball to try and get in the red. Now he just grazes past the green and then goes in off in the middle. I mean, it's very unlucky, but in a 33-frame match, we like to think that luck twos and fro's, and he actually got a little bit of himself when he got out of a snooker and snookered Ronnie back. So it'll go to and fro, and it's just about forgetting it, basically, as soon as you sit in the chair.
Yeah, he's not going to berate himself, clearly, but I guess it's about trying to keep your focus there. How important, Steve, that he doesn't allow Ronnie O'Sullivan to become the front runner. He's got to stick with this guy.
Yeah, but he won't be looking like that, because he's a great front runner as well. He's just looking for opportunities. He doesn't fear Ronnie. Ronnie, they just respect each other.
Huge amount of respect between these two guys, which has been built up over 30 years.
It's who can manage to get a 2-frame advantage that is going to take a bit of stopping between these two unbelievable players. And when you get that 2-frame advantage, you have at the back of your mind, if I can keep sharing the sessions, there's no way you're going to lose. But getting the 2 frames in front, that's the hard part. Still very difficult to predict who's going to win this semi-final. It's fascinating.
Yeah, that's the 70th meeting head-to-head between the two. 36 to Ronnie, 33 to John. Possible red to go out here to the right centre pocket. Very acute angle. Wow, lovely shot. That didn't go into the middle of the pocket, that blue, and subsequently it may not be on this red above the black. It's very tight. You may have to play it a little bit of left hand side, swerve it slightly, but that's very dangerous.
Well, he's forcing himself to bend it slightly. Sometimes you've got to just say, well, I've come up short. Let's forget about it, but you're so disappointed that you finish short that you want to take it on. He's got very little to do. Yeah, he's decided that it's much too risky to try and bend it round the red there to make the potting angle. So just that fraction has ended the break.
John Higgins, 6.
If you could call 6 a break. Well, there is a red available, but he'd be canning into another red. That's what he's looking at now, but there's no easy safety shot here. Possibly could leave the white up this end of the table. But there's one pot he can have a go at if he can find the gap. No, he didn't play the pot, but he found the gap. That was an extremely good shot there.
Slight error from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Hasn't left anything straightforward. This red here into the bottom left-hand corner pocket. It's not easy. Could play it off one cushion for the black into the opposite corner, but it takes extremely good cueing this. Hitting down on the cue ball, which makes it even more difficult. Oh, well played. Great shot.
1.
He's played this well.
6.
John Parrott was talking about how John changed his technique. Not on this shot, his hand's further away, but he's in much closer to the cue ball. And that last shot, he still was able to generate a terrific amount of power, even with that new distance that he's got from his bridge hand to the cue ball. It's very, very effective, that's for certain. This is a pretty decent
14.
chance for John Higgins here. And he hasn't got the correct side of the red to run through for the black, so it's a change of plan straight away here.
Yeah, slightly careless that. Could have been nicer on that red into the left corner, or even better on this red into the left centre. We've got to screw the cue ball here into the cushion, maybe hold for the blue into the same pocket.
15.
Yeah, played it nicely. Now he's got to get on one of these reds above the black. I think it's gone wrong.
20.
I don't know why he tried to play for that red left of the black when he could have easily played for these two reds above the black into the left corner pocket.
Yeah, he was hoping to slip around the back of that red and leave a nice easy one, but that little cannon just spoiled everything.
John Higgins, 20.
Well, that's quite a risky shot. There's a bit of distance between the two reds if he takes the plant on there. shot this is he's taking on. Didn't fancy that one little bit. That was far from easy. I mean, if the reds were closer together, okay, I think he would have made it.
He was really pushing the boat out there. So another opportunity here for John Higgins.
One. Seven.
Both these reds, I feel, go into this bottom right corner pocket. I don't think you can play on the black into the same pocket, so I may just play for the pink. Just a little bit awkward.
Eight. $14.
Just had a glance there to see if the black pots into the right corner.
$15.
It obviously does. And within a couple of shots' time, he could have that black spot area cleared.
$22.
Well, it looks as if it's going to prove costly, that very difficult plant that Ronnie took on there.
Yeah, I'm not quite convinced it was the right shot. It looked like he was pushing the boat out a bit. It didn't need to be. A straightforward safety shot. Doesn't want to become too impatient. Here's the shot again, Dennis.
You see, from there it looks okay, but if you're directly behind it, you'd probably get it. But the angle that he had to come in to attack the plant was very difficult.
31.
And Ronnie, yeah, doesn't want to become too impatient. John would pick up on shots like that.
Yeah, well, in the semi-final and over 4 sessions, patience does play quite a big part. You know, waiting
37.
till you get your opportunity and then pounce.
$38.
That was the
45.
the black that leaves Ronnie needing the snooker, but I don't think he's going to be coming back to the table too soon. He's taken these well. A little bit awkward when he came to the table, but he's negotiated a nice frame winning break here, John Higgins.
46.
John's highest break is still at 58 in this
53.
semi-final. And Ronnie just nods to the referee and he concedes. And John Higgins, well, he's just not going anywhere. He's got himself back into the lead at 6-5 with one more to play before the mid-session interval.
And fascinating, the toing and froing in this match so far. And there's a couple of interesting patterns that have emerged, particularly from Ronnie's perspective. What did you notice in the last couple of frames about the way he's going about this match, Stephen?
Well, I mean, the last frame he played a mid-range red into obviously the yellow pocket. Now, you've got much more chance of potting it if you just stun the cue ball. He's decided to play it with a real element of safety, screwing the cue ball all the way back, which I really don't understand, whether he's not confident in making, you know, potting the long balls.
So that's the abundance of caution.
Well, that was very, very cautious, in my opinion. And then go back to this frame, and he's taken this plant on, whereas, you know, the reds have gone everywhere. So I don't understand the sort of, you know, it's a bit rich for me talking about shot choices, because my shot choice would be reckless most of the time. But it's to go ultra cautious and ultra attacking in two frames. It's normally you have a game plan, you play a certain way, but there seems to be, you know, whatever the moment takes him kind of thing.
Okay, in agreement with that, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, if he felt the plant was absolutely nailed on, then maybe that's different. But it looked like it had to be made, so it was a little bit risky. In both situations, he tried to screw back with a little bit of safety. He didn't get back to the bulk area from the plant. But yeah, that red would on another day, like Mark Williams at the start of this tournament, would have rammed that in the pocket and stunned for the blue. So maybe he's not feeling totally confident with his cue action, or maybe he knows how clever a tactician John is, and is not trying to play him at his own game, but trying to give the respect of a player that he knows would punish him if he missed. So it's hard to know. You know,
there's so much respect.
Well, decision making in the moment is like, what makes you decide to go for a shot? Who knows what triggers in the brain for this?
It's almost kid gloves, isn't it?
Well, in the end, the first red we've seen, if you don't fancy getting it, don't go for it. You know, you could play an excellent safety shot. If you're going to go for it, commit 100%, which is something that Ronnie's always done.
Okay, back we go. This is the last before the interval.
Interesting observations from two guys in the studio. I totally agree. A couple of shot choices from Ronnie was a little bit strange. And particularly that plant, Dennis, it was, you know, it had to be made, and it was very, very dangerous. I'm not quite sure whether he wants to compete with John Higgins in long safety battles. And he's going to be trying to be the more aggressive of the two.
Well, he's looking at another plant, but he's got this long one up into the corner, and it looks to be an angle that he could get onto the black, but he's deciding to have a go at the plant with safety in mind. Maybe he didn't bother with the plant just to save, but it was interesting that he refused the red into the right corner there. And yeah, I agree with the boys there that the red, where you called it at the time, Ken, he should have just potted it stunned for the blue, and I think he would have taken the frame from there, but it's not like him to play a screw back with a bit of safety in mind. But it just depends how he's feeling in himself out there. Now this is a bit of a chance here, and the crowd sense it. They know if he can knock this red in with the way the reds have opened up, could give himself a very early chance in this final frame before the mid-session interval.
No, it's more like it. But not a great cue ball.
Please, just switch the devices off. This is really disturbing.
Just make a mention for both players.
I can do it, yeah, no problem. Right, just a quick reminder, especially if you're sitting in row 1, 2, and 3. If oh, well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. If the player is queuing towards you, please freeze, just freeze, don't move, just don't lift your arm, just basically freeze. Thanks.
Thumbs up from Ronnie. I mean, the first 3 or 4 rows, they're so close to the action, but if the player's striking towards you, just keep still, you know, just keep perfectly still until he plays the shot. That's not a bad kiss on the red he's had there. You wouldn't say it was lucky, because if he misses the cannon on the red, he's on the one that's just above the black, so he was always going to be nicely on a red there, so you wouldn't have called that a little bit of good fortune. A little bit of tidying up now.
How relieved is that person in that row that was moving there that he potted that brown? Did a little bit of housework here, Ronnie O'Sullivan. No. Needs to concentrate, focus. An excellent opportunity here.
Six.
He's okay. He can get out on the red with the screw back, a little bit of reverse side. Just watch the white as it comes off the cushion, spinning a bit further up the table.
13.
That looks so easy to play, doesn't it? The screw back, but when you're putting side on the ball, it's slightly more difficult.
Yeah, it's not completely straightforward here. Let's get a nice angle on potting this red. There may be one other loose red, but they're all sort of blocking each other, these reds, at the moment.
14.
Now, does he play on one loose red, or does he go into the pack with lots of top spin? Oh, wow. Well, how much did that cue ball jump in the air?
21.
Is he okay? Because he hit it harder than he needed to, but he might just be okay. Just watch, everything's jumping. The black, the white, nearly come off the table. And he did well 22. To finish on that one. I suppose he deserved it. The way he attacked that, he deserved to be on something. It's just wonderful watching these two players go head to head here.
29.
It really is. What a treat everyone's having here this afternoon in the Crucible Theatre.
Yeah, it's fascinating, pulsating.
30.
This red will in turn release the red just below it.
36.
And there's two reds just to the left of the red that he will play next after this black. He's going to have a look, maybe a plant into the left corner pocket. So let's have a look here. There are two reds. He's had a look at those two. They are in line, so he won't need to disturb any reds after this next colour.
44.
In fact, the red closest to the pink may also pot. Which we'll find out shortly, but I have a funny feeling, as well as the plant being on, that the red might
51.
also be on, but the plant, the red's on, but the plant is the better one to get on the black.
52.
Wow. Or the pink. Left himself a choice of pink or black there.
Yeah, it's not ideal. We'll have to go up for the red near the yellow. There's a little bit of disturbance from the crowd. A little bit irritated, Ronnie. He's on edge.
Yeah, there's no problem with moving around, but it's just if the player's
58.
right in your eye line, that's when they need to keep still.
There's only one more loose red after this red here. Mm.
59.
It's not the best angle on the blue. That red, just closest to the pink, that will be his next choice, but he's going to need a good positional shot. Off this brown cue ball travelling a good distance. Well, he's played this very nicely. Great shot.
63.
It's a wonderful sport to watch on television. That last shot, you can't get any closer to the action. You were right down Ronnie O'Sullivan's cue. There's no other sport where you can get that close to the action.
Yeah, and that's frame ball.
70. $71.
Ronnie of the two, Dennis, looks sharper when he gets. He looks like he's going to score heavier. John Higgins, on the other hand, when the frames go a little bit fractious, he's more likely to win those frames and pick Ronnie off. And that's the fascinating duel that these guys are showing us so far in this match. John Higgins hasn't got his scoring boots on, but he's still all level.
Yeah, we mentioned a few times John's highest break is 58, but he's 6 frames all. That shows you the quality of his play.
86.
It's okay. Yeah, it's just. Nice little touch there from Ronnie.
93.
Crowd would love to see a century.
94.
So he's going to need to lose the last red. Blue will be 99. I'm sure you're going to hear the Crucible roar when this red
19.
goes in. Well. Such a shame there was no century made, but Ronnie O'Sullivan won't mind. He's won the frame in one visit. And once again, as we go to the mid-session interval, we are all level in this pulsating encounter against two great champions. It's Ronnie O'Sullivan 6, John Higgins 6.
And it seriously is so tense. And even Ronnie seems to be just a little bit on edge. He's noticing everything out in the arena today.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be put off by the crowd, but obviously you can't help it if they're moving in your eye line. But he's done the right thing. He went down, sat that back down again. But of the two players, it's always the case. But of the two players, it looks like Ronnie's got the ability at the moment to be able to move through the gears. and more likely it feels to be able to sort of stretch away from his opponent, but that's not exactly the way John plays. He's much more of a consistent pace, so sometimes it sort of doesn't really seem that he can do that, but he obviously can.
There is an edge, Stephen, isn't there? Because we're watching him with the referee, and the referee's trying to keep everybody quiet. And you just wonder about his concentration here. It's remarkable that he can put these things aside and still go about the business.
Yeah, it's one of his strongest traits, his concentration. When he's on that table, his focus is unbelievable, but he does notice absolutely everything, and obviously when he gets the referee to say to the crowd to keep still, or if when the referee cleans the cue ball, Ronnie goes back to his seat. And for someone as fluent, as quick a player as Ronnie, you think any interruption would really interrupt the concentration. You get back to the table and you miss. He never ever misses the next shot, and it's, to me, that's astounding. That focus is to just almost like switch off your concentration for 2 or 3 seconds to go back to chair, and then just literally just like switching on a light, just switch it back on again. It's incredible talent.
It is. How do we read John Higgins' body language and the way he's playing right now, Steve?
Well, he's doing his job. I mean, like, you know, 6-all. There was the possibility, if you looked at the quarterfinals, that the man in form had the easiest victory against Steve Maguire, could have just breezed away from John if John was getting tired and had a tough match. So it's great from John's perspective that he's staying in the game, and that's what you've got to do. Stay in touch regardless, until it gets to the stage where all of a sudden the adrenaline starts to kick in a bit more, and all of a sudden it becomes a bit more of a bun fight. That's when John Higgins is as capable.
And we saw this with Lazowski, didn't we? His back was firmly against the wall, but to produce those 2 breaks to win that match was extraordinary. It's still there.
Yeah, absolutely. But I kind of get the feeling that Ronnie's just one burst away from moving away in this match.
Okay.
I kind of think it's brewing.
OK, you heard it here first. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Now, one of the hardest shots in the game, or so John Parrott seems to think, is the break-off. And I think you've got a little bit of history where this one's concerned, John, haven't you?
Oh, Hazel, honestly, thank you to Jeff H. He's sent an email and he said, what is the correct way to break off? Now, I'm going to let you into a secret. 20 years ago, when we started working together, this was my first demo. And I said, oh, don't worry, but I'll get a cue. I'll show you how to break off. I borrowed a cue out the rack, put the cue down, put the ball in the D like this, went to play the shot and missed the pack entirely. So that was the first one. Hazel and Steve fell off the couch laughing, so I'm now under pressure. So on these tables, the players themselves are going to play the end red, and they're going to play it from here with right-hand side. So it's going to hit the top cushion, side cushion, inside the blue, back down in this area behind the green. That's what they're looking at. Now, on your club tables at home, you may choose to play the cue ball a bit further over, take the second red. But at this level, they're all trying to keep the reds more intact. So they're going to play the end red. So we'll get lined up, plenty of right-hand side. Come off, missed the red completely. I was supposed to hit, but it's round there. That's the idea of it. And you know what? This shot is absolutely... I used to do this all the time. Why can I not play this shot properly?
20 years and he's still not got it right. Steve, I tell you what, nothing changes, doesn't it, in 2 decades?
It's a bit of a worry because he's in the seniors tournament next year.
He wants to slow that backswing down to a blur, doesn't he?
He's got a fast backswing at the moment. And as a golfer, he knows full well to have a slower backswing. And then he's pulling the cue back faster than he's pushing it through. But, you know, I don't want to be his coach. I don't want to be the Peter Ebdon of Jack Lazowski. I don't want to be his coach coming into the World Seniors.
John, don't worry, another 20 years you'll get it right. All right, well, it is actually quite remarkable to think that it is 20 years since the trio of Steve, John and I were first pressed into action at our first Crucible Championship when we actually worked together. Obviously, they were still playing at the time, and a certain Stephen Hendry was still very much in the frame for the title. But none of us will forget the heroics of the Iron Man that year, Peter Ebdon. He was absolutely granite. He was swimming a mile in the build-up to this one. He'd read every psychology book in history, I think, in his preparation. And this was an achievement that we'll never, ever forget. Now, he's been back here 20 years later as a mentor to Kyron Wilson and to Jack Lazowski, but it's the efforts of 2 decades ago that will live with us forever. Stephen, look away now.
Exit.
Peter Ebdon, you are champion of the world 2002.
It's what, 20 years this year to be back at the Crucible now this year for the first time since I retired. is pretty incredible, and it's always really special to be back here as world champion. You know, you walk in and you see your photo up there as a previous champion and amongst all those great champions, and yeah, it's something very, very special. It's lovely to be working with Karen and Jack and pass on my experience and hopefully see the difference and be there with them during the good times and when times are tough. That really means an awful lot to me. I'd worked really hard in 2002 and I wasn't blessed with the natural ability of somebody like Jack or Ronnie O'Sullivan or Neil Robertson or Sean Murphy, these sort of people. So I really had to train my mind to be really strong. And I think a lot of people don't understand it's very, very gladiatorial out there. It's important to be able to take yourself and be where you want to be where you need to be mentally.
And it's Peter Ebdon who goes through to the second round.
You've really got to be strong in your mind to prepare yourself for when the chances come along, and fortunately I took my chance when I needed to. I was physically in pain at the end of the day, and although I didn't know it at the time, the wear and tear for all the work that I've been putting in ultimately would mean that it would be the end of my career with a wear and tear in my neck. It's literally you against that guy, and who's going to be the stronger? Are you going to take centre of the ring, so to speak? Are you going to be the strong guy, or are you going to let him take control? So in my mind I always had to be really, really strong, and no matter who I come up against, I always believed that I could win and I could make it really hard for them. And sometimes it worked, more often than not it didn't, but I gave it my best. Matthew played so well in that match. It's something I'll never forget as long as I live, for how well he played in that game. And I'm sure I've said it before, but my lasting impression was him pulling away from me and me trying to hang on to his coattails. That's how well he played.
Just the red, and that would win the match.
In my own mind, I was going to win. It was as simple as that. My focus and desire and motivation and concentration, the goal setting, I was doing all of that sort of stuff. But yeah, it was just huge. I was just, ready for it.
If he misses this pink, he's out of the championship. Terrific shot. Well, that's the bravest shot I've ever seen.
I think I remember Steve Davis interviewing me in the semi-finals, and he asked me what I thought my chances were, and I just said to him very simply, and believed it, that I wanted it more than anybody else, and I did.
Peter Ebdon goes through to the final.
You try to take it all in, but you don't really, because you're so focused. I think everybody else is savouring the occasion and savouring the atmosphere, but as a player you're just absolutely focused and determined on what you're doing, and I was playing the greatest player of all time. If Stephen Hendry was an animal, he would be the biggest, baddest, meanest great white shark ever. And that's how I visualised him as a player. And he was like that. He was an absolute killing machine.
But it's a tremendous pot.
Towards the end of the World Championship, you're playing on instinct and you're running on adrenaline. It was a question of digging deeper. It was like squeezing that sponge, come on, a little bit more, a little bit more. And for me, that's what it was like.
89. Peter Ebdon clears with 89 to take the last frame of the day, and a 10-6 overnight lead.
I remember starting the tournament at 11 stone 8, and 17 days later I was 10 stone 3. It really was a grueling mental process to keep myself up for it all the time. I'm thinking black, red, black, world champion. Stephen was always going to clear up because that's what he did. He did that his whole career. And then somehow I had to get myself ready for that final frame.
55.
I made an unbelievable break, probably the most important break of my career.
Where's this white going? It's gone in.
The shot that Stephen went in off, he was really, really unlucky because he tried to develop the black and bring the black away from the side cushion. You know, it was just my time. It was meant to be.
It's in. It's over. 7 times world champion Stephen Hendrick claps his hand and says, "Well done, Peter Ebdon. You are the champion of the world. 2002. What a performance!"
It was like the realisation of all the dream. It's all the hard work, all the persistence, all the disappointment, all the frustration. You know, to actually achieve what you always wanted to achieve. It's something incredibly special, and I'll always be very thankful for it. My daughter Carissa came out, and then I hugged Carissa, and that actually sort of kept me grounded, actually, because I was sort of up there with the stars, I think, at the time. I mean, for me, it was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. You know, I wish it had been more, but you know, we can't be too greedy, can we? Because it's not every day you become world champion in your sport, you know, your passion.
Wow, very, very special memories for Peter, and it's safe to look now. He was terribly magnanimous to you. But when you reflect on that absolutely epic final, what are your abiding memories of it, Stephen?
You don't really remember too much about the final. I remember that black off a spot that he missed, and almost, you know, jumping off my seat to get to the table and clear up, and really thinking, that's it, I'm winning this now. I'm thinking, just give me one chance to the inside, I'm winning this now, and I got a kind of a half chance, didn't take it, and as Peter said, he made a magnificent break to win the final frame. But yeah, thank you to everyone for showing that. I mean, couldn't find one of mine. It's an anniversary.
You've had plenty. I do remember that you were on record as saying, not at the time, but thinking, you didn't think that Peter was going to be able to beat you over 4 sessions because you'd already played in a final before.
Yeah, and I'd beaten Ronnie in the semi-final. We had a bit of a grudge match, and I played fantastic to win that semi-final. And I honestly didn't think over 4 sessions Peter could beat me. But he did. He did, and you know, players win other tournaments, but to win the World Championship, you've got to be a proper player, and Peter was a proper player.
He was indeed, and actually, just from a point of view of watching it, Steve, you've been involved in a final frame decider, but as a pundit and as a presenter, it was the first time that you'd have to sit there and actually live it in a different perspective. How did it change your view of a sport that you had given everyone so much pleasure with, and now you were sitting there watching other people go through it?
Well, I think you just know what everybody's going through, and you know full well that anything can be missed. But it's always a shock when, and when exactly the same as Stephen, when Peter missed that, like, wow, and we're sitting in the studio, we're just living it. Yeah. And there's players, so it's great to be part of the team here, because I don't play snooker anymore, but I come here and I live it as a player again. It's the juices all flow again. I would take issue with Peter Ebdon's assessment of his own ability. I think he's incredibly talented. I think he does himself down in that. He may not look as fluent as some of them, but I think his ability was one of the reasons why he beat Stephen, and he got. You don't win the World Championship without having bundles of talent. It might not manifest itself in the same way as a Ronnie or a Jack Lisowski, but he's still got it all.
Yeah, I think people tend to think if you're a fast player, that means you're talented, naturally talented, and other players aren't. You know, it's nonsense, complete nonsense.
For me, it affirmed the power of the mind. It was an extraordinary achievement, and I will never forget it, I must be honest. All right, we are in some wonderful drama here 20 years later, and Abby Davis is speaking with some of the audience today. I wonder how they're assessing this semi-final, Abby.
Yes, thank you very much, Hazel. I'm with two very enthusiastic Ronnie O'Sullivan fans. Ben, we're going to start with you. You've travelled all the way from Holland to watch Ronnie O'Sullivan. Is it living up to the expectation?
Yeah, it's way better than I could have imagined. It's so unreal to be so close to the action and actually see him do his thing, and then you realise he's human, just like all of us, and it's really strange because you've only known him from the telly.
And how special would it be for you to see him lift this trophy for a 7th time?
I mean, we've been obsessing about this in our chat groups forever. So we're like, okay, has the window closed? Is there still a moment that he could do it? And it looks like there still is, and he seems extremely motivated. So for him to do it would be justice to the sport, and without taking anything away from Stephen Henry, but for both of them to be on 7 would be really justice.
Absolutely, a nice touch mentioning Stephen then so he could hear you. And if we could bring Steve in as well, if you could pass the mic over. Steve, how do you assess that first 4 frames of the 2nd session?
Ronnie's not looking comfortable, I would say. He's irritated by a few things in the crowd going on, and cleaning the ball, the cloth. But when he's amongst the balls, that final break, nearly 100 frame, it's a shame he only hit 99, and when it's a scrappy frame, John Higgins, as always, can break people down and, you know, nick the frame with a small break.
And if he does go on to make the final, he could play Judd Trump, who's in a commanding position in the other semi-final. Of course, Ronnie's lost his last 3 of the last 4 against Judd. How do you see that one going if it happens?
That'd be a close affair again. I mean, it's a world final. Judd's 2nd, Ronnie's hopefully 7th to equal Stephen Henry, and, you know, a move away from Steve Davis. Judd being a local Bristol boy with me, it'd be great to see him get a 2nd title, but it'd be, you know, record equal in 7th for Ronnie would be also great.
Absolutely, a lot of confidence here. Back to you, Hazel.
Thanks very much, Abby. Sign that man up for the commentary teams. A very astute observations from him, and actually a very interesting point that he made about Ronnie feeling maybe just a little irritated out there because the crowd are noticing that he's noticing everything. And we were talking about the fact that every time he has the ball cleaned, he goes back to his seat. And I know there's a lot of people wondering about that. Most guys would wait and just have it cleaned and go about the business. Why?
I presume he just doesn't want, because he wants to be in a rhythm where when he's at the table, he doesn't spend a long time to the next shot. So I suppose if it feels, I presume, I don't know, but when he's hanging around at the table, it's maybe he would lose his concentration. So he goes back, has a drink of water, and then resets.
Okay, and as for this 2nd session in what is now a 4-session match, Steve, we've had moving day on the equivalent of in the previous rounds, but now how do you judge that?
Well, maybe moving session is the next one, and whilst you have no idea what's going to happen in 4 frames, this part of me feels like it's 8-all at the end with everything to play for. But as we said earlier, if anybody looks like they could actually press the go button and get away, it does look like it could be Ronnie. But the next session, that's when you would like to move through the gears.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves because we started at 4-all and we are at 6-all. It is as you were. So here we go, another 4 frames to play this afternoon. And that will be it for these guys for today because they'll come back to play 2 more sessions tomorrow. But Ken and Dennis, what awaits us in the next 4? Back to you.
Yeah, I was just looking at them backstage there, and Ronnie was still chatting with the referee, Marcel, Eckardt, just explaining that, you know, there was a few people moving in his line of sight, but I think they've realised that now, and it doesn't matter moving if you're behind the player.
Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Anyway, it's all sorted, and it's just absolutely fascinating still. Difficult to say who's going to win this semi-final. He seems to have got this break-off shot perfected because he's not tying the black up and he's getting the white over behind the green as he intends. So there's just enough room for John to play a containing safety, leave the white up this end of the table. Ronnie would like to move that red that's near the blue. He doesn't want one of them awkward frames where the red start going up the other end and the safety areas behind the black. But if he does play that red, he's got to make sure he doesn't send it into one of the bulk colours. And that needs to pull up. If it's just off straight, this is a bit of a chance for John Higgins.
Yeah, you're right. It is just off straight, so it's not too bad. Play this off 2 cushions. Hold for the black into the opposite corner pocket. It's a shot John normally gets a high percentage of. Oh wow, he's missed it completely on the wrong side, and that's very, very worrying. Almost hit that full ball.
One.
So the first chance falling to Ronnie. And it's not a bad chance.
Yeah. Try and drop this black in. Try and get that red just below the black into the opposite corner. Looks pretty good. And now pot this red. Leave a nice angle on the black to go into the pack of reds.
Nine.
So an early key shot coming up. Gotta be careful he doesn't plant one into the middle pocket. Nearly.
16.
And just had spotted that in the pack there and went close. Wow, I bet he thought he'd missed that. He stopped in his tracks for a moment. Just the pace took that into the pocket.
Yeah, nothing better to focus than mine when you thought you nearly missed an easy one. Didn't have to go into the pack there because loose reds left and right of the pink.
22.
Now has he got on this one into the bottom corner pocket? Yes, he has judged it nicely. He was still on the other one, but I wanted to get on this one.
23.
Because that entails opening the red into the left corner pocket. He's definitely playing the more fluent of the two, and particularly, as we said, he's scoring a lot better with the two players. It's just in the tactical side, he's become a little bit more impatient than his opponent, John Higgins. And there you see it, 75% safety success, John Higgins, just 70 for Ronnie O'Sullivan. This was gone wrong.
No, he didn't get enough reverse side on it.
38.
He hadn't got a great angle on the black, but I still expected him to get a little bit more side on it to swing that white just further up the table. Let's have a look again. Yeah, needed a bit more fizz on that. And he did look at the possibility of a plant, but this is a thin cutback he's looking at. And that's excellent.
39.
What a recovery that was. That was a very thin contact that was required there. I thought there would be more reds open the way he played it. But unfortunate not to develop them. He may have to go into them again, but from the blue would be better.
He's got to be very mindful of the cue ball. It could screw towards that bottom, the middle pocket, middle right pocket. He's okay.
44.
The plant, he's back looking at the plant again. What's he, 44 in front, and that looks pretty good. He's got the reds either side of the 4 reds. Once again, looking at the plant. If there's a little bit of distance between them, it'll be okay. Meanwhile, he's got to negotiate this one.
50.
Yeah, he's convinced himself that the plant is on. Or has he? I mean, he could cannon them if he didn't fancy it, but they'll look pretty good.
Maybe going towards the right-hand side of the pocket. So we might have to make it.
Yeah, because they're close together, he can squeeze it
57.
anyway if it's not. But it looks as if it's going straight into the middle of the pocket.
58.
Nicely played.
Well, they may have to take the one.
63.
He said cheers on the way at the table. But he still needs another red to secure the frame. In fact, there's a red up the other end of the table that I'd forgotten about, the one up past the green. Safely negotiated. The white needs to pull up though. The white needs to pull up.
64.
And it has. If he pots the brown, he'll be 68 in front with just 67 remaining.
Yeah, try and get that cue ball down this left-hand side of the table. Play for the red into the right centre, or one of these reds into the right corner. So he's putting it into quite a large area left of the pink spot. And that's pretty good. Excellent shot to the inch.
68. '69.
Looked like he was going to make a century. The frame before the mid-session interval.
76.
Got to 99.
77.
But he's got a couple of very difficult reds if he's going to make a century.
83. 85.
He's got an angle on the blue. Can he cannon this red out or drop right in behind it? He's trying to drop right in behind it, and he's, well, we know how good he is with his left hand.
90. 91.
And what's this for a positional shot? Oh, he's got the white there, but not the black. So no century break, but he only needed the one chance, and he made enough to take the frame. And Ronnie O'Sullivan now leads by 7 frames to 6. An amazing record, Ken. All them records he set, but he's still trying to equal Stephen Hendry's 7 world titles.
Yeah. Amazing array of titles in his illustrious
Thank you, the 14th frame, John Higgins.
career. 30 years this year, of course. And his opponent, John Higgins. Both of them part of that triumvirate. Class of 92, along with Mark Williams in the other semi-final. Good break-off. I remember, you might remember this, Dennis, their very first encounter in the Meta World Masters back in Birmingham. 1991, they were, I think they were only 15.
It is touching ball.
That was their very first tournament playing each other.
And now they have 6 world titles between them. Well, I will get it right. It's 10 world titles. 6 and 4. Definitely makes 10.
Touching ball called by referee, so John will just try and lay this cue ball on this top cushion behind the black. So he might get back to a bit of normality.
I've noticed a couple of times off John Higgins' break-off shot, Ronnie's got that red that's to the right of the blue, and he's refused trying to pot it to get on the black. It was a free shot, but he's made his mind up. He's not going to take anything risky. And this is a bit pacey.
His He's left this red. And Ronnie just coming down this end of the table to see where he could position the cue ball. For fear of missing the red, what would he be leaving? May try and hold the cue ball for the black into the same pocket as the red of 2 cushions.
This long red that John's looking at up into the corner pocket past the yellow. If it was straight, he could screw back and leave it safe and be on the pink. He might still be able to do that. You can see where he's cueing down on the cue ball. Oh, a long way off the pot though. And where's the red going to finish? This coming back up the table.
Wonder will he try and nestle the cue ball in behind the pink here, just leave the cue ball, just try and get it as close to this top cushion as possible. That red needs to go past the left centre, otherwise it's possible cut. I think he can cut this red in, you know. It's not easy and not 100% sure where the cue ball is going, but it does pot, but whether he takes it on or not would be very risky.
He's got to keep the white as near to the pink as possible here, otherwise he'd leave that red that Ken mentioned. See, if the white was anywhere near the black, it would be an easier cut into the middle pocket. Doesn't want to hit the black. He might be able to pot this now. Oh, it's tight though. Anxious look from Ronnie, and I think he's just okay. Another fraction, the red would cut, but there might be a long pot on here, similar to the shot that John attempted into the other corner pocket. Now, can he get a bit closer this time? Or is it? Wow. We spotted a slight gap there. It's a bit of a guide. If he goes through the gap, it's going to go close. Well, we talked about the luck even in itself, but Ronnie can't believe that that red's gone in the middle pocket. Well, that's one of the best flukes I've seen. He's tried to pot it up into the corner and it goes in off 2 reds. Wow. It's only 1 point though, but you've got to take full advantage and look at the table. What a chance as we show you it again. Try to pot it up into the corner. Hit one red, hit the other red. Amazing.
Line. Yeah, that's what we say about luck, that it should even itself out over the course of a 4-session match like this is. It does play a part in every sport though. You've got to make the most of it when you do get a bit of luck. Ronnie can do nothing but just wait. Well, it's a wonderful opportunity here for John Higgins. We've got plenty of options. We'd like to take that red. It's left of the blue, the one that's closest to the cue ball next, because that would free up the blue into both middle pockets. But if he did take that red, he'd have to maybe come off 2 cushions. So he might take the red next to the yellow. That's another option for him. But for the first maybe 6 shots, he doesn't really have to
14.
Concentrate on anything, but just keeping a good cue ball before he even contemplates trying to develop any of those reds. Plenty of reds in the open for John Higgins here.
$15.
A bit straighter on the blue this time, so he can play for that red. It's closest to the cue ball. Thinking about playing for, yeah, just get rid of this red and keep the blue available. There is a red that's
20.
Possible into the bottom left corner pocket, but I think this is the right shot here.
$21.
That's not the cannon he was intending. Might just be okay, but he wanted to cannon that red full ball. He slipped through the gap and just about okay.
$27.
Back in prime position again. He's got to take full advantage now. His highest break is still 58. We've played 13 frames. It'll be a nice time to
32.
Make your highest break of the match, and he's got a chance to do that here.
$33.
Slightly overrun with the cue ball, so may take the opportunity this time to go into the reds. Once again, you're always relying on a little bit of luck here to just be on one. He hasn't. Why has he not hit that hard enough?
38.
Tried to play a controlling shot into the reds, but could have gone with a bit more pace. It's a poor shot from John Higgins. Bitterly disappointed. But what a chance he's let slip there. I don't think he's on anything here.
Yeah, it was just one of those shots. He thought, well, any sort of cannon here, I'm bound to push one on, but as Ken said, a little bit more pace would have helped, but still a bit unlucky, I suppose, to stick in there and not leave anything on. Well, there's no easy safety shot because of the red in between the green and brown and the one over the corner pocket, so it couldn't have finished worse. This is about all he can do here. And he's a bit reluctant to just roll into them, but there's not much else available.
John Higgins, 38.
I don't know how we're going to resolve this. There'll be no re-rack because John's got a 38-point advantage.
Touching ball.
Touching ball maybe helps a little bit.
It was a clever little shot there from Ronnie because of the 38-point lead that John Higgins had. So he's putting the onus on John Higgins to be the aggressor in this little dilemma for him. Because otherwise Ronnie will just keep playing into those reds and force a re-rack. So John has to make a decision here. He has to play an aggressive shot eventually. The fact that it's touching ball, he may play the cue ball. Maybe into an area in the bulk area, covering this red over the left corner pocket, but his previous shot, he could have played a shot onto the top cushion. He refused to do that, and now he's got himself into a slightly precarious predicament here.
Can he hide this cue ball? He studied every angle. It's not a bad choice. He thought long and hard about it in the end. We've always said for years that John Higgins has got one of the best snooker brains ever in the game, and I think he just proved it there, picking that shot out.
An excellent shot. And of course the pace at which he played it. Look how close he got it to this top cushion. Ronnie needs to cover this red on the left hand side. I don't think he's done that. I think he's left it. Maybe, let's see. Yeah, he has, but it's almost straight.
Dear. If he takes that on, he could send the white into the pocket after it. It's almost dead straight. One of the earlier frames, he had to go with a long red like this and hit it on the wrong side. So here we go. And you've got the perfect picture there. He's still not convinced he wants to take it on. Could, coming around, he could play cushion first. May not play the pot, but it might get things safe. And that's what he's decided on.
Just wonder, can he get the cue ball here in behind the pink? He's got to be so careful with the red. He doesn't want to knock it into a pot-up position into the bottom right corner pocket. Well, he has a chance of getting the cue ball very close to the pink.
foul. John Higgins, 4.
Well, at first glance, that might only cost him 4 points. He wanted to try and get the frame back to normal, and yeah, just glancing at it, John trying to work out a shot to nothing where he can take a pot on and get the white back down the table. There's plenty of ways of getting back to the safety area, but he's trying to see if he can find a pot that he can go at the same time. Wonderful shot.
1.
No easy colour, but the Wizard of Wisher waving that magic wand there to pull that shot out.
Green ball. John Higgins, 1.
Yeah, 43-point lead, so pushing the green to his side cushion just for a little bit of extra insurance should Ronnie get the opportunity for a counter attack. He's going to need that green. A bit short of pace, this cue ball.
Once again, he's looking for a pot that he can take on and bring the white back down the table. He's not going to risk the one that's nearest the blue. That is on, but he's playing this one with a little bit of safety in mind. Tough, hard match snooker from John Higgins here. Not letting Ronnie have a look at anything easy.
Not a bad cue ball, and he has left Ronnie a possible pot here into the bottom right corner pocket, but this is very tough. He's getting the cue ball clean, but shaping up to take this red on, but he's got to negotiate a pathway through a lot of traffic with the cue ball if he's going to try and get it on brown or blue.
Once again, Ronnie just sitting down while the referee cleans the cue ball. Now, if he does take this on, there's a possibility he could cannon into the red and pink, which wouldn't be a bad thing if he pots the red. No, he's found the gap. What a shot that
One.
No, that was wonderful, wasn't it?
I mean, he's found that gap there. He had to be so precise. Missed the red by a fraction. And he's given himself a great opportunity to get right back into this frame here with the way the reds are sitting.
Yeah, and how important will that green John Higgins put on the right-hand side cushion a few moments ago?
5.
That may prove to be a clever little shot. Maybe his only hope and saviour in this frame,
6.
unless Ronnie tries to bring it out. That could prove to be the pivotal ball, as all the rest of the reds are all pretty much open.
Mind he's got to negotiate the pink and black.
11.
One of them back on its spot. The pink would be good.
12.
And I think he can just see enough of it, so this opens the whole frame up. He can forget about the black then. Someone disturbed Ronnie there, but it wasn't in his line of sight. I'm not sure whether it was just a sneeze or something. It's so quiet in the Crucible when the players are at the table.
Yeah, you could almost hear a pin drop. But if your concentration is spot on, you shouldn't really hear anything. He's got to concentrate here. This is a wonderful opportunity for Ronnie O'Sullivan here.
19.
Nice shot. Perfect on the pink. He'll be already contemplating that green and how he's going to take it out. He's going to have to take it off the cushion.
25. $26.
Of course, the yellow being off its spot doesn't help the situation.
32. $33.
But he's going along very nicely here. Now he's planning his route. The two difficult colours, green and yellow.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, no problem.
Spotted something on the pink there.
He's cleaning the pink, the referee, but the pink was on its spot. Might be a new rule for referees, I'm not quite sure. An excellent referee, Marcel Eckardt.
You know, that just shows you what you can do with these fast cloths. He was almost dead straight on the pink. And look at the angle he created there.
$40.
This is where it gets interesting, Dennis. Does he leave an angle when potting this pink on the red to knock the green out? Could hold a spot with the cue ball here. Just past it, but it's not good.
Yeah, I think with the yellow sitting where it is, you know, if he canned the green out from a red, potting a red, it, you know, he wouldn't be nicely on the yellow.
$47.
Well, if he leaves the white there, it'd be some shot to get from yellow to green. Got himself into a 4-point advantage. Just a quick glance at the scoreboard there. He's still looking at the scoreboard, reckoning up, but you have to reckon the scoreboard up in your head. It's not a running total. Well, he's got the white exactly where he wanted. Now, what a shot this would be if he can somehow screw onto that green. That would be exceptional. And here it comes.
55.
Great effort. Well, what a wonderful effort. He may take this green on. It's very difficult down the cushion, but he could play it with an element of safety. He's refusing it.
Sullivan,
he's played a good shot and he's made a nice break. He's back in the frame. He's back in the hunt. And he's got a good 12-point lead. I think when he was looking at the scoreboard there, Dennis, he was trying to work out if he potted the pink and yellow. John Higgins would need that safe black. But he may be able to chip the green onto the black here. Tried to. Well, will you take this shot on? He's refused a few. He played a few with an element of safety. If he takes this on, he has to go full-blooded and totally commit.
Don't blame him one little bit. He knows he's got an opportunity to open up a two-frame advantage, and that will be huge at this stage of this fascinating semi-final.
Yeah, he's prepared to wait. It's not often you'd see him refuse shots like that, particularly if he feels he could win the frame from it, but he's being very patient. Oh, this looks good from John Higgins. Very, very good. And this is the problem, isn't it? When you're prepared to wait and turn down an opportunity, sometimes you may not get one. He's going to need a bit of luck here, Ronnie. He needs that green to quicken up. And he hasn't. He's left it. So, will he rue that chance, or half chance? John Higgins got a tough green here.
Don't think the white will go near the left middle pocket. You can avoid that. But it's a tough pot he's faced with. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on that pot there. Green and brown needed to leave John needing a snooker. Just steadying himself. The stun shot in the middle pocket's in the way slightly, so he's got to avoid that. Now this looks pretty good. Yeah, brilliant shot.
A quick glance at the score. 15 points in the lead, so just brown to leave John Higgins needing the snooker. And it's there.
7.
Why did he hit it so hard?
7.
I mean, he brought the black out into play. I thought he would just stroke that in.
It's not a bad for Snooker here. The blue up into the bulk area. Cue ball behind the black. Yeah, I'm with you, Dennis. Why didn't he just drop the blue in or over the pocket? Would have been okay, particularly where the black was on the top cushion.
Yeah, this was the shot. Just stroke it in or roll it over the pocket because the black was out of commission. And he brought the black into play.
Chance again for John Higgins. Cue ball behind the black here.
This is a good effort. This is a very good effort, but it's not going to be hard enough.
Where's that coming from? Just switch it off, please.
Well, there's someone with a camera there sort of filming. If they see him doing that, they may stop him. See, they're not ideally placed, the pink and black. You want a colour near a cushion. And get a big cheer if this blue disappears. But it's so difficult to get in behind the pink or black when they're sitting in the middle of the table like that.
Yeah, Ronnie won't roll the blue over the pocket and try and pot it here, of course. Oh, spread. Not sure put pay to this frame. And it's a frame that John Higgins will be gutturally disappointed with because he had a chance. But it's Ronnie O'Sullivan who pots the blue and the pink and extends his lead now. He's 2 in front. He leads John Higgins by 8 frames to 6.
Yes, from 3-0 down, Ronnie O'Sullivan has made the breakthrough, and I wonder whether he'll consider it a breakthrough because he's been keeping touch with John Higgins all of this way, and suddenly, for the first time, this 2-frame gap has opened up.
Yeah, I think there is, and it seems like he's more likely to take his chances than John. It's tough out there at the moment. It's quite tense, you know. I think that's sort of shown even by Ronnie. He's under a bit as well, but he's coping with it marvellously. So both players, I think, are really desperate to get in the final. Obviously, it's getting closer to that part.
I totally agree with you. It really does feel very, very tense. There's a lot of tension and a bit of anxiety that you sense from the two of them out there. But also you sense that Ronnie is scoring by far the more heavily. He's made 2 tons and 7 half-centuries. John's still on 3 half-centuries and a top break of 58. And yet, Ronnie hasn't managed to pull completely away.
Yeah, this might be sensing that this is a time. As I said, I think it was on the horizon that Ronnie was the one that was going to pull away. There's a frailty to John's game in all departments, actually. Even some of the safety shots he's playing are not as assured as they normally are. He's scoring, he's breaking down all the time. and not on tough shots, on sort of elementary positional shots. And his long game, which was actually, the figures showed it was all right, but that Brown they attempted when Ronnie got the snooker, it was a weak effort. I mean, he didn't even hit the jaws of the pocket. So yeah, there's a frailty that's unlike you would expect from John in a match like this. You'd think he would be, you know, bang up for it. And it go back to how he looked before they were introduced this afternoon. Yeah. Sometimes you get an air of how focused someone is. I didn't get that from John.
Well, we know that Ronnie is by far the less lightly raced in terms of the number of frames he's conceded. He's conceded, before the match started, only 14. John had conceded 28. So perhaps fatigue playing a part, but who knows? 2 more frames to play this afternoon.
Very interesting comments from the 7-times world champion Stephen Hendry, who knows John Higgins' game inside out. When John turned professional up at Spencer's Club in Stirling, that's no longer there. They practiced hour upon hour together. What's happened now? Have we got...
It's up to you, John. So you want to give me a second?
I think everything's okay, but John seems to have spotted something up in the crowd. No, he's okay. Yeah, just as I was saying, John practiced with Stephen Hendry, well, for quite a number of years, and he got to be world #1 and world champion in 6 seasons, which was quite an achievement. A lot of that down to the practice that he did put in with Stephen. Fantastic. Absolutely wonderful opening red. Now that really is a shot that will boost your confidence. Can he stun and get onto the red next to the black? It was a funny angle he had there. Well, if he's dropped on this,
6.
It's a bonus. He might need the spider, but he's got little to do with the cue ball, and if he's on this red, that is a real bonus.
Yeah.
He's close to the white. He's going to need the spider. It's awkward. He might need an extended spider. And this is the one that's very awkward to use. Is it going to reach? It's not. That was so awkward.
John Higgins. 6.
That extended spider Steve Davis was talking about the other day, it's a poor design, he was saying, because it's too high. You know, it doesn't have to be as high.
One.
Yeah, that little brush off the black there hasn't left it a nice angle to go into the pack. That's what Ronnie was hoping for. So he's going to have to play this red. It's close to the right corner pocket. But it's imperative when he plays this shot now that he finishes with a nice angle on the blacks, because no loose reds available after this one.
9.
When he's going to need all his cue power here, he's got to miss the first red, the red just directly above the black. He's got to miss that. A lot of screw back and try and develop some more here. And he's played it perfectly. That was just a beautiful shot. Watch how he gets right
16.
through it, misses the red. cue ball, screws back for the same red into the
17.
same pocket. Brilliant shot.
Does the rocket sense that this is his time here? With the 2-frame advantage. Is he going to push on here?
24.
Not perfect on the red. That was an awkward shot that John was faced with the extended spider.
$25.
Needs to give this a little bit of care and attention. He's away from the black somewhat.
$32.
That's okay, you can get past the pink, I think. This is the easier of the pots. That red's a bit of a distraction. So he's back looking at the one with the rest.
$33.
Back into prime position again.
Please. $39.
He's only got one more loose red after this red into the right centre. He's coming around to see anything available in the pack. Doesn't look like it.
$40.
Perfect on the blue now. Blue and then red. Nice angle on the next colour, possibly blue. But this is where it could. Now he has to be pretty precise with this. He's got to leave a nice angle on the blue. He's got to go into the pack right of the pink and try and develop another
46.
couple of reds.
Yeah, if he misses the pink and just gets the white somewhere in there, it'll open them up nicely. Oh, he could be unlucky here.
51.
I think there's one available into the left corner, but they could have split nicer than this. Safely in the center of the pocket. One more good positional shot, and he could be 3 in front.
$55. $56.
He's already had 2 century breaks and 2 90 breaks in this semi-final. And that time he got so much reverse side on that to swing the
63.
white over towards the reds.
$64.
The blue and the frame will be safe, and every chance of his 3rd century.
can see the confidence growing from Ronnie O'Sullivan.
70.
Wonderful break this. Played at a very brisk pace. Oh.
70.
Well, disappointing to miss the black, but John stays in the seat. It was that shot with the extended spider that cost him there. And now Ronnie O'Sullivan, as he leaves the arena here, he must be delighted with himself. He's opened up a 3-frame advantage at 9-6.
Well, Stephen picked it, as did Steve. This guy just threatening to explode away now, and he seems to be outscoring and outgunning John Higgins at the moment. Is he sensing a little bit of tentative play from Higgins?
I think he's feeling like he's in the ascendancy, and that is going to relax him even more. So it's a big frame, and I would say favourite for Ronnie O'Sullivan to win it. And John can hopefully, then get to the second session finished and maybe regroup. If he could win this frame, he'd be delighted, I think, from here.
Yeah, he's been threatening it, as you said, and it's just beginning to happen now.
Yeah, as I say, you look at the body language round the table of both players, it's completely different. Ronnie's like stalks the table. Really bullies the table in terms of the way he walks around, the shots, that how aggressive he is. John is a little bit, I don't know, would you say timid, relative, tentative?
Tentative, yeah.
What's up?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to know exactly. I mean, he might be tired.
Well, I was mentioning that
it's tough.
I mean, it was an almighty effort to come through against Jack Lazowski. When he was in the studio with Jason and the guys the other night, I mean, it was clearly a drained John that was there. Delighted to be in this semi-final, of course, but very difficult to keep that going.
Yeah, but I think he's been here and done it. He knows what the score is at the Crucible. He knows how tough a test, and that's why he's been one of the best players. I mean, he got to the final 3 years in a row.
Indeed.
He knows what it takes. I don't think that's. I just think he's not 100% confident in his game. As simple as that.
Okay, such a key frame, this last one of this second session.
Yes, indeed, it is a huge frame, and particularly for John Higgins and his fans. Ronnie completely in the ascendancy now. John has to try and salvage something from this session. Putt success way down, 87%. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 94. Long putt success is better, 74 to 60. He's been getting chances, John Higgins, but he just hasn't been scoring. High break, still only 58. Just has to get his scoring boots on. So very important frame, this, John Higgins.
Was a very tough putt that John took on there. He got so close to it that have another look at this. There, you think it's going to go in, but just watch as it touches the jaw and comes back.
One.
It's an early decent chance because there's the red near the middle pocket. There's one that might be available at the back and to the right of the bunch. But even if there's not, you'll leave an angle on the blue to go straight into the pink. I think that's his plan. And I can't see any plants that he would knock in.
7.
So this is the one. Full ball onto the pink, and he'll send quite a few of them into play. Oh, he's knocked one in. I didn't see the plant
Ronnie
there.
O'Sullivan 7.
I had a quick look and
John
I couldn't
Higgins,
see
5.
the plant. But somehow he's managed to knock a red in. Let's have a look. Well, you couldn't envisage that happening. What a chance for John Higgins now. Unlucky there.
Can he pot this red? Just brush off the second red and run through for the black into the opposite corner. It doesn't look like he can. So may have to go up for blue here off the bottom red. Very important visit here for John Higgins. Short of the blue, so try and negotiate the cue ball in between brown and green here. Needs to slow. He's okay. Just spotted something on the cue ball. Time for a bit of composure. There's his wife and daughter watching on. Denise and Claudia. I'm sure they're on tender hooks at the moment. Not easy watching, of course. Yeah, good shot. Now, has he
7.
got top side of the blue? Needs to go. He's okay.
Twelfth. Just
a little shake of the head. He just overscrewed it slightly, but he's still at the table and in control. And well, he's been in this situation so many times before. He knows what's needed. I mean, don't get me wrong. Even if he was 10-6 behind, I still think this man's in with a great chance. But 9-7 would make him sleep much better this evening. But he's just undecided here with this next shot. And that's not what he wanted. He might be okay, but he no intention of cannoning that red. He just was a bit undecided.
18.
So now he needs a good recovery pot here, and position, of course. He's played a beauty there.
19.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
From tucked up in the cushion, Ken, what a pot that was.
Yeah, and across the nap of the table. And that may just give him the confidence. When you play a shot like that, it just gives you a great boost, and it just might be the one he needed just to try and go on and try and win this frame now from this position. Still a bit of work to do.
24.
Black is Still not available into that left corner pocket.
He's got that little smile on his face, telling you that he can't get the white exactly where he wants.
So
he's having to work hard and go up and down the table and keep, as long as you get the right side of the blue, you can keep the break going.
Now let's see what angle he has here. Maybe able to
30.
Pot this. You could play for pink or black here. Pink would be ideal because that would go back on its spot and release the red just to the beside it. I'm just wondering if he leaves the cue ball when potting this red almost exactly where the red is. Can he pot the pink into the same pocket? Could play for black as well. Black it is.
31.
I played that well. Lots of reverse side. It looks so easy that, but the natural
38.
angle would have taken him into the red and pink. Back up for the blue again.
$30.
And once again, well, not quite as much angle this time, but I think he's okay. So he's taking full advantage of that misfortune from his opponent when Ronnie went
44
into the reds after potting the pink. Was unlucky to knock a plant in that didn't seem to be on.
45.
But overall, you would say the good luck, bad luck has evened itself out.
Yeah, and as you said, Dennis, countless times in his career.
52.
John Higgins has got temperament in abundance.
53.
That has never waned. 51 ahead. This pink to close the gap to just 2. Prefers the black.
Oh, wow. Dear me, why did he hit it so hard?
John Higgins, 53.
Well, what happened there? That must have been a big rush of adrenaline to hit the ball that hard.
And settle down, please.
He only needed the black.
I'm not quite sure what he was trying to develop the red below the black, but oh, that was a huge mistake.
1.
Surely we're not going to have a re-spotted black.
Yeah.
Because he can only tie at the moment.
You say the black, I couldn't believe it. Now the angle on the black is very, very acute, but he could disturb these 2 reds if he pots it. How's your luck? Oh, very unlucky.
Well, he could have hurt his hand there. He gave the butt of the cue a good old crack because he knew he could maybe pinch this final frame. Okay, he can only tie with 2 reds, 2 blacks and all the colours, but he was certainly annoyed there with the way that turned out.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 8.
What a shot he's played here. Wow. Amazing what can happen in a frame of snooker.
Thanks enough, thank you.
Watch this here. Whoa. I bet that hurt. He settled for that. Wasn't sure what was going to happen there. Well, we can't see enough of it to take the pot on. But look where the black's gone. Might just be available into the right corner, and if Ronnie does get a chance, he's going to need that black.
Possible shot, try and bounce the cue ball off the back cushion, try and get the cue ball behind the green. No. At the moment, he's got to just keep things safe, because he's got to get a chance to get on the black that, as you can see there, it's available into that one corner pocket, but he's going to have to wait to get a chance to pot a red and get over there. Yeah, I'd like to be knocking maybe the red up towards the green pocket and try and get that cue ball behind the black and pink. Possibility of potting the red into the green pocket as well, if you wished. That's what you tried, but got the double kiss.
I'll tell you what, there might possibly be a way, but what a shot if he's to get round the table and in behind that black. He's got to avoid the brown and the green, but he might just, no, hadn't got the angle to even attempt it. So waiting patiently. Another little bit of angle and he could have had a go.
Decent shot there from Ronnie, covering the red, bringing that out into the pot-up position. Now, possibility here, Dennis, try and play this red he's closest to, just nudge into the black and leave the cue ball behind the pink.
Well, to tell you what, he's looking at taking the red on into the left corner, screwing off the side cushion, top cushion, and back in round behind. This will be the shot of the championship if he pulls this off. Just have a look at this shot he's trying. Have a look at that. Well, fractions, it might still go, but what an effort that was. Does it still pot? Or did that little flick spoil it? It still goes.
Yeah, there's plenty of room. And the referee just had a look at it, but what a pot this was. And the angle is not too bad. Okay, at least the cue ball is going up towards the red.
It's quite simply a must pot on the black.
Would you believe it? I didn't think the black was going to pot any harder, and it wasn't now. 3 cushions. Avoid yellow, green and brown. Back down for the black.
Surely it's not possible that this final frame of this session could be decided on a respotted black. Wouldn't that be incredible? It looks good if it misses the blue. He's on the black. Doesn't want to be straight. The slightest of angles to try and get somehow onto the yellow, but he can't force it too much. No.
He's okay. I think he's still got a shot at the yellow.
Tell you what though, if he misses the pink, he's a lot closer to it. This is tough.
What a shot he pulled out there. Wow.
Wow.
21.
I've never seen anything like it. What a frame of snooker.
$25. 30.
This is just amazing. What a treat we've been given so far, and we're still not over yet. Pink and black required for a respot. What a clearance this would be from Ronnie O'Sullivan.
36.
Frame still not over, of course. It will be a respot. The black will come out, back out, but he needs the black.
Amazing. What an amazing clearance that was from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Wow. Even a little reaction from Ronnie there. And now you want to win the toss. Marcel Eckardt will toss the coin.
Would you like to call? Tell it is your choice.
And Ronnie won
You
the
start,
toss,
Victor.
and he's put John in. What an end to this session, Ken.
Amazing. And what a frame it could prove to be for both players in this incredible semi-final. side-to-side shot. Has he left the double? And will he take it on? What's a possibility? Double the black into the left centre pocket. Could play an easy safety shot. He's gone for the double, but it's well wide.
Well, John Higgins marches round the table. One of the best pressure players we've ever had in the game. He's looked at both corner pockets. He wants to have a go. He hasn't even thought about a safety shot. Where's the white going to finish?
Well, Ronnie getting the black cleaned again. It wasn't far away, that attempted pot from John Higgins. Felt he was forced into taking it on. He had a tough safety shot. He's left it into the left centre, and what a frame this is for Ronnie O'Sullivan if he does pinch it to lead 10-6. It's there. Ronnie O'Sullivan has done almost the impossible in this frame. He's grabbed it right from under John Higgins' feet. A frame Higgins should have won. He's lost it. O'Sullivan now leads 10 frames to 6.
It's advantage O'Sullivan, and how. What a competitor, what a clearance, and what a way to finish an amazing session, Steve.
Yeah, monster clearance, and he looks like the winner. It's a good time, I think, for John Higgins to have a break in this match. Hopefully, you know, sort of reset, and he's got to come out really strong, because Ronnie looks all of a sudden like he's got clearance from his opponent now.
Such intensity in this session. I don't know about you guys, but every session so far, the two of them, they felt like the final session to me. It has had such an amount of emotion and intensity invested in it.
Yeah, very much so. Absolutely fascinating to watch. It was amazing because that when they were down to 2 reds playing safe, you just kind of knew that Ronnie was going to get a chance to win that frame or get back to the respotted black. Inspirational clearance. The last red, the second last red into the yellow pocket, position on the black. Everything about it was just, it was just phenomenal. And you just, it's what he deserved, because he's been the best player the last 2 sessions. He's been the most aggressive. He's taken the game to John, and John's not really had an answer, has he?
No, and also with that situation where the black was near the pink, John might have had other opportunities to sort of play safe in a weird way by putting a red over a bulk pocket, because it would have been so hard to get on the black. Yeah. He could have, like, just, you know, given a chance, and if Ronnie then decides to go for it, odds against getting on the black, then he's the same job. But he sort of played the correct safety shots as it would be in a normal frame. But Ronnie's such a clever player. It was a great break. It really was, to get back. That black was fantastic. It wasn't easy. Yeah. He had to take a bit of time, and he actually got the red out as well. It was beautiful.
It was extraordinary. And even in the respot situation, John having to play to the green pocket, he just looked under it, didn't he, right from the start there?
Yeah, I thought there was only one winner when it went to the respotted black. But then you look back in the frame, John misses the black off a spot. He only needs the black off a spot. Why not play the pink? So much easier. Just needs a colour. So there's, as I said, I keep using the word frailty, but his game is, I'll use another F for fragile. You know, he doesn't look confident to me.
Yep, but we've also said that it's the hanging in there that is John Higgins' speciality. But with a 4-frame gap now, that looks increasingly difficult now.
It does, far bigger, obviously, than 9-7. And I worry for John now that that Ronnie's got breathing space, and we know how great a front runner he is. He put paid to Steve Maguire's chances very easily, and if he smells weakness, he's one of the strongest in the world. You know?
Absolutely. OK, well, let's just remind you of the look of both of these semi-finals.